Hi, hello, my name is Jessica and welcome to my channel. I'm a stay-at-home mom comedy/commentary channel. I've been doing not really any of the comedy stuff, but I do plan to do it in the future. In short form, all my capacity is being used to do the research on 8 passengers in this case right now. So to start off, I am a mom, as I said. So my daughter's here on the floor playing with a puzzle. My son is downstairs eating lunch. And I am running up and down the stairs, which is why I'm out of breath. So I apologize if that is really annoying for you. Then my channel's just not the one to watch because I am a mom. I'm not someone who has older kids. I'm not someone who doesn't have kids, and I want to weigh on this, and I like commentating, so I'm really enjoying this. So anyways, that is the only disclaimer I'm going to give there. So I am not an expert. I'm just commentating on this topic, so please do not take everything I say as fact. I'm just simply commentating and speculating on this case. The first clip is from Good Morning America, where we learn a freaking bombshell. I know it just came out yesterday, so people are probably already learning about this, but that they were separated for 13 months.
Again to you now, Kevin Frankie's lawyer says that Kevin and Ruby had been living separately for the last 13 months, and that Kevin's main objective right now is to follow the court's lead and do what's best for his children.
He's a good person. He's very gentle. He's a very gentle guy, and no one's ever made any allegations that he's ever physically abused those kids or anyone else.
So I just want to jump in quick and say that the reason why I'm making this video is because I have been putting all these pieces together, and so this is just my assumption, but what his lawyer just said right now about him being gentle, I do not know the history. Like I've already said, I'm not an 8 passengers expert, so I do not know the full history. I've not watched every single video of them and their treatment of their children, but the fact that he's saying that he is gentle, so maybe his parenting wasn't good, obviously, because he was also involved in connections, but just this particular part right here is the only thing I want to highlight, is that he was gentle. So he's like a gentle man, and then we'll get into, just watch.
His lawyer telling ABC News that Kevin's main objective is the safety of his kids.
He just wants to do what's best for his kids, get them back, get them under his tutelage and his fathership, and protect them.
This makes me believe that I have a suspicion that the reason why Kevin stayed away was because of Jodi. So she likes to blackmail and pin people against each other. So let's get into this next news story, connecting more dots, this next news story of this gentleman who just came out yesterday. I think this is KUTV, so the same one, the only one other person, like the only news station that covered the panic room. So next clip.
The former client that we spoke with, his name is Trey Warner, and he says that Jodi Hildebrandt was really good at using shaming tactics to pit husband and wives against each other. And he also says that she was very good at convincing people that they were dangerous for other people to be around.
This part right here, convincing people that they're dangerous to be around. This will connect for the story at the end, which was Adam Steed on the Mormon Stories podcast. He was on there yesterday as well. It's so crazy, all the stuff came out yesterday. So connecting this little sentence that the reporter just said, and that this next guy will share about, it's blowing my mind. So just sorry, get into this.
He joined a support group at the recommendation of a friend trying to improve his marriage. But after a while, he says he grew more suspicious of what Jodi Hildebrandt was teaching.
It started to feel more and more evil. And I finally, in one of the group meetings, I got up and I just said, this is off.
Warner claims Hildebrandt would use shaming tactics to turn husbands and wives against each other, adding that she would convince men that their impure thoughts made them dangerous to their families. He says he saw one case during a group session.
There was a man that had a successful business that believed that he was a danger to his wife and his family because he did a double take. As a woman, like if he saw a beautiful woman, he would see and he'd look again. This guy got his own apartment and separated from his family because he was a danger.
Do you freaking hear that? Based on that story that man told, it is not the same as Adam Steed, which we already know from Adam's story that there's a ton of people who have been manipulated by Jodi and who have done her counseling sessions. Sorry. Okay, this is blowing my mind, even though I've already watched this. So very clearly, this is not the same story that he's telling that Adam told, which means there are multiple people. We all know that there was a lot of people under Jodi's control and a lot of people who went to her counseling services that was recommended by the Mormon Church in their area. So this shows you that this particular thing of pinning husband and wife against each other, making them believe that them checking out a woman or, watching pee every once in a while was so bad, that it was like so evil that they compared it to unaliving someone, is absolutely insane. And I know it's part of the Mormon church, but also these are the teachings that Jodi had, and she had. I'm not going to ruin Adam's story. I did fast forward it quite a bit. I may have to cut in a little bit, but it was shared on the Mormon Stories podcast. So now let's connect the dots of Adam's story next.
Left with our baby, 3 weeks after our baby was born. And Jodi was upping the confrontational style and control through my wife over my life. And she was coming home and having these huge arguments with me every time she came back from a session with Jodi.
What types of issues or arguments? If you remember.
One was that my wife asked me to give our baby a bath.
So the story that Adam's about to tell is very graphic. I have to provide a trigger warning because it's quite graphic. It's very sad, and it's awful, but I do have to provide a trigger warning. It's not easy to hear. So I can put a timestamp on the screen of when his testimony or his story here is done, because it is the bulk of this story, this thing. So trigger warning.
And so I gave her baby a bath. And at this point, my wife would have no physical contact with me, no talking about anything and everything. She totally walks into the bathroom in her lingerie. And I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, she finally listened to me. We're going to have our normal life back and stuff. And she started teasing me and acting like she was going to hop in the tub with me. And I'm holding our baby, our 1-year-old baby. And I just was like, hey, you got to get the baby out of the tub now.
For a little bit of context here. Sorry, I'm standing now. My baby has to sleep. A little bit of context here. They have 2 children at this point in the story together. He is having the baby, a newborn, in the tub, and he's holding the 1-year-old.
I'm laughing, thinking it was funny, and she leaves with the baby, and she comes back into the bathroom and looks at me and just looks at my private parts, and then just looks at me in disgust and just turns her back and walks away. And I was just sitting there just like, this is emotional roller coaster feeling. And I just was like really hurt, and I'm sitting in there just like, oh God, this is my life. And I'm just sitting there, and she comes back into the bathroom, and I didn't want to see her, so I just turned my back to her. I didn't want to look at her. Didn't want to fight with her, didn't want to argue, didn't want to use that feeling of feeling so rejected and hurt that way. And so another situation, she came home.
Can I just state that's entrapment? It sounds like what she did after withholding any sexual intimacy from you for an extended period of time based on Jodi Hildebrandt's recommendations.
What type of counselor advises a couple to not be intimate with each other? That is weird, right? So that we already know that Jodi is crazy. But that will show us right here, amongst many things that show that she's not well, is she is advising a married couple to not be intimate, right? And I know there's context within that, but if that's like an overall blanket thing, that's not good.
It almost sounds like she was instructed to tell you to bathe the child, then to come in with lingerie to arouse you, to then be able to accuse you of child abuse. As then a way to be able to have more power and leverage over you. It sounds like entrapment to me. It sounds like you don't want to say that, but that's what it sounds like.
I got a protective order. I went to court. My kids have been kidnapped. And I read in the protective order, and it says that my husband was a victim of sexual abuse, so he doesn't have a healthy understanding of boundaries. And one time he asked me that I had to get the baby out of the tub. And when I came in, he tried hiding an erection. So
she used that against you later.
I read it, and I thought I thought this man would be a terrible person. And then I realized it was me, and my kids were taken away from me.
Yeah.
My baby and the most important thing in my life was taken away because of that.
So this right here is what solidified my opinion. So again, it's my opinion, solidified my opinion of the fact that this, with Kevin being away from his kids for 13 months, was because of Jodi, because she pins husband and wife against each other. She makes them seem like they're crazy, and that any sort of sexual, as the Mormon church would, at least their Mormon church would deem it as inappropriate. And I was raised Christian, so I know it's very similar in that way. That they were as bad as people who unalive people and who had some crazy, sick backgrounds. If you go back and watch the Mormon Stories podcast, you'll see the kind of stuff, like in the group that they put like predators together in the same group as people who've been essayed. Now, as if we needed more proof to connect all the dots on my assumption on what is happening here and why Kevin stayed away for 13 months, we're going to cut to now Law and Crime. They also posted yesterday an interview with Kevin's lawyer on what was said to Kevin to stay away, or the instruction he was given. So weird.
Were they separated?
Correct.
They were separated, I read, for 13 months, so they weren't living with each other. How much was he seeing the kids?
Almost not at all. Actually, not at all.
Why is that? Why is that?
Because she told him it was better that they needed to work on their marriage and needed to keep their family together, but that everything was better off with him not in the home and not communicating with the children. Say they were, they had a difference of opinion about their family.
Parenting? I know you can't talk about it, but is it that kind of where we're going?
Correct.
So the lawyer's trying to cover it here to make it seem like it's not about his parenting, because obviously all the allegations coming out about their parenting on their YouTube channel. So that's why he said that, in my opinion.
Okay. So let me again.
And their own personal dynamic.
Okay. So he was living separate from her. Was he calling the kids? Because I think what a lot of people are looking at this and they're wondering, well, what did he know? So he might have been living separately from her for 13 months, but he wasn't calling the kids, checking in on the kids, seeing how they're doing. He's the father.
I totally understand that. That was the big question on my mind and the big question on a lot of people. If you've read everything that's in the media, he's getting raked over the coals for that. But what people don't understand is that he was trying to preserve his marriage. He was taking direction from her. She's the one who asked him to leave the house and indicating that in order for him to be able to get back together with her and be a family, that she was requesting that he leave the home and that he not contact them or the children. Later told him that everything was blissful at home. It was so much better without him.
I almost think that the lawyer's face looks very different in this interview compared to any other interview. He looks like he found some shit out, and obviously he feels extremely bad, and he is his lawyer, so there's confidentiality there. But I personally feel like Jodi probably accused and set up situations to do to Kevin what was done to Adam. And so because Kevin is a public figure and his whole family really are public figures on YouTube, and obviously big within their churches and stuff, and possibly on the payroll, he stayed away. He was terrified of what Jodi could do. He saw her hand and was terrified of what she could do. So I am not really going to press on Kevin. I mean, if information comes out, like I know the 8 Passengers YouTube videos showed apparently his parenting, I'm going to look into that more myself before I form a solid opinion on it. But from what I see here, I believe Kevin is most likely a victim as well. A victim of Jodi and a victim, therefore, of Ruby and their ways. Like these 2 stories that I've shared in this video, the third being Kevin's, should show you that what I am speculating on is probably correct, and only time will tell if it even comes out. But I feel so sad for Kevin if he has gone through this in the last 13 months, especially everyone coming down on him, which for within reason, you know, like I even said something in my first video about the alleged arrest of him, which wasn't even true. That was on Reddit, and that was false. Reddit sucks. So yeah, that's just my opinion. I'm curious what you guys think. Feel free to comment below. If you disagree with me, totally cool. If you agree with me, cool as well. Because I feel like I'm onto something here. And like I've said, I'm no expert. I pride myself on doing thorough research and my due diligence. And even something I caught, I was watching this back, obviously while reacting to it, is and commentating on it. I saw something there, and there's another puzzle piece I didn't have connected that is so interesting. And I was like, holy shit. I am finding out so much more, guys, and I'm going to be smart with what I share. I don't, like, someone commented on my video today saying that I'm, like, doxing by sharing an address. I didn't share the full address. I blurred out the side streets, anything that was identifiable with that address. So my point is not to dox, is to connect all the dots and share with you guys things that I'm finding. So if you like this video, please let me know. Physically like the video so that it gets boosted up in the algorithm. That really helps it. Same with commenting. And I hope that wherever you guys are, whether it's the morning or the night, whenever I get this up, I hope that you're having a fantastic day. Bye, guys.